For my final project for our art history class, I decided that I wanted to recreate a mask of my own. Throughout history, almost every civilization that we have studied and some that we have not has had a history with masks, whether that be purposes for protection from during wartime or disease, whether that be funerary with death masks, whether that be religious or spiritual in ceremony relating to gods and goddesses, or whether it be ancestral masks representing spirits of humans or animals that were important to that civilization, or whether it be for theatrical purposes and masks that were used and created for theater. So I wanted to look a little more specifically into masks that were representing different gods and goddesses. And many different cultures have masks that relate to the gods and goddesses of their society, whether that be from the Inca and the Mayan, whether that be the Mongolians, or in Egypt with the Egyptian gods. It fascinates me that each culture kind of had their own set of gods and made masks and statues and artwork to represent them and what they did in their society. So I then wanted to look specifically at sun gods, and many different civilizations have a type of sun god, most of them being in South and Central America. And so these are three that I found. Up on the top left, we have a mask representing the sun god from the Inca Empire. On the top right, we have a mask representing the sun god from Bolivia. And on the bottom in the middle, we have a mask representing the sun god from the Mayan culture. Within each of these cultures, the sun god played an important part in their society and in their beliefs. Sometimes the sun god was connected to renewal and rebirth. Also, it could be connected to change. The sun god could also be connected to fire and burning, or to life-giving as well. And so they have some different meanings based on which culture and which society you look into. So I decided that since the sun has always meant a lot to me, I wanted to go through and create a mask representing my version of the sun god. To me, the sun has always represented life-giving or renewal, a new day, right? Peace at night as it sets. And so I wanted to create my own version. I decided to use cardboard for my basis, and then I use a variety of different tools like a compass, a ruler, an X-Acto knife, some scissors. So here you can see I start to create the basic shape, and then I used a cardboard roll that was cut down to get those shapes on the face as well. I then started to add a few more details and cut out the rays that were going to go behind the sun. And I decided I wanted two different layers because the sun is powerful and has lots of different things. And then I wanted to add a little bit of texture. So you can see that I started to take off some of the layers of the cardboard so that you can see that inside texture to shine through to give it a little bit of variety. And then once I had all the pieces and knew where I wanted them to go, I then needed to paint them. So I labeled them all on the back and then painted them all individually. I decided to use some metallic paints because I really wanted it to have that shine and that sparkle when the light hit it. Then I let those dry for a while, and once those had dried, you can see there in the middle that I started to put all of the pieces together. And I really kind of like the effect that you start to get with the different pieces and the different colors of paint and the different textures shining through as well. And so then my finished product looks like this. And I don't have a name for my sun god, but I did decide to me that it means burning, changing, alive, just in the sense that the sun is always burning and changing, and yet it still remains the same. You know, the sun is kind of like a living creature that is always shining, always giving off energy, always recreating itself, and yet still existing as the sun as we know it. And so I really kind of liked that idea and that imagery for my life as well. And so this is my final piece of my sun mask. And then these are the websites and things that I looked into to get a little bit of history on different masks from different cultures and a little bit of history on sun gods and what they have meant to the people of the past.